If you're working as a health, fitness, or a wellness professional, your clients may be eating foods that are actually good for them. But for some of your clients, if they're eating those foods at the wrong time of the day, they could be doing more harm than good. So in this video, I'm going to help you understand foods that your clients should be avoiding at night. You don't want to miss this.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
So if you haven't heard me talk about this in other videos, it was Dr. Emmanuel Rivisi who helped us understand that the body has a natural circadian rhythm at the cellular level. So during the day, the body should be in what we call a catabolic state, and this should happen during the daytime, and that's when the body's really good at creating energy and kind of keeping us going all day, but also breaking down tissues so that they can be rebuilt and renewed. And then at night, the body should move into this anabolic state where it's very good at resting and sleeping, but also rebuilding and repairing those things that got broken down. So you can see both of these states are appropriate. We really want both of those things happening. But for a wide variety of reasons, a lot of your clients will get stuck in one of these states most of the time. Or maybe they're just pushed way too far into one of these states, and that can create a wide variety of health issues. So when we're looking at the foods that are appropriate for each client, we need to understand that it's not going to be the same for every client. For a variety of reasons, we all process foods differently. So the foods that are going to be right for each client is going to depend on the client. So when we're looking at these foods that we want to avoid at night, we first need to understand where a client is with their circadian rhythm. And some of these foods have the ability to push a person more in one direction. So the thing we have to understand first of all is that a lot of clients are really balanced in this area. They're moving from a catabolic state during the day into an anabolic state at night, and everything is working correctly. So if that's the case, some of these foods that can be problematic for some people are not going to cause any trouble for these people that have everything working correctly. But what we want to look at is first, for examples, we can look at things like salmon and mackerel. And these particular foods seem to have a pro-catabolic effect on most people. So in that case, we would want to eat these foods during the day when the body's supposed to be more catabolic. When we're eating these foods at night, then we're working against the body's natural circadian rhythm. So the body really needs to move back and forth for a lot of functions to work correctly. And when someone's body is not really working right, you really want to put everything you can in your favor to help the body move back and forth like it should. So if we can eat foods like this during the day, then we're working with the body instead of against it. Now, let's say a person is really stuck in this anabolic state. If they ate salmon at night, that's not going to make them catabolic at night because they're really stuck severely into this anabolic state. In that case, it may just be balancing them out a little bit. It may just push them into like a normal anabolic state that most of us would experience instead of a severe anabolic imbalance. So in that scenario, someone could eat salmon or mackerel at night and everything's going to work great. If somebody's really balanced, eating some salmon at night is probably not going to be a huge problem. But when I was trying to get my voice back and I was dealing with a lot of health issues, I was in a severe catabolic state and it was creating a lot of health problems for me. And if I ate salmon at night, I would be awake until March. Like it would really cause a problem for me because pushing my body more catabolic during a time when it was just doing anything it could to try and get into that anabolic state, it created a lot of trouble for me. So we also need to understand that not all foods are going to push a person more anabolic or more catabolic. Most foods are just going to be neutral. So we don't need to worry about every single food. Also, when we look at nutritional factors within a food, that's not always going to cause problems either. For example, dark leafy green vegetables have a lot of magnesium. And magnesium is a very pro-catabolic mineral. But dark leafy greens don't seem to have a pro-catabolic effect on most of our clients because they have a lot of other nutritional factors that balance them out. So there are some foods that seem to have an effect, and we'll talk about some of those here. So let's look at hard-cooked eggs. Hard-cooked eggs are very pro-catabolic for most people. And what's really interesting about eggs is that eggs are cooked where the yolk is still runny, seem to have a pro-anabolic effect on most people. So for some clients, it can really matter how are the eggs cooked and at what time of the day are you eating them. Flaxseed or fish oils, these have a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, and omega-3 fatty acids are very pro-catabolic. So these are foods that a client would want to take in the morning or maybe around lunchtime, but not at night. Canned and processed meats, also very pro-catabolic. So are chia seeds. So we're not saying that nobody should have chia seeds, but if you have chia seeds in the morning, then you're pushing the body more catabolic during a time when it's supposed to be in that state. Sardines, also pro-catabolic. So again, for clients that are balanced, none of these foods might be problematic, and they might be able to have all of them at night, all at once even, and they still may be okay. But if someone's leaning too far on this catabolic state, eating any of these foods at night can be very problematic. And for some clients, they may need to avoid these foods altogether until they can improve this imbalance. So if you want to understand a little bit better about some of the other foods that can push a client more anabolic or more catabolic, Chapter 13 of my book, Health Pro Results, goes over a lot more foods. And the book is available on Amazon, but I'm going to put a link in the description below so you can get the whole thing totally for free. And that'll also walk you through simple self-tests that you can have your clients take to get an idea if they're leaning too far on this catabolic side or they're leaning too far on this anabolic side, and is that imbalance creating some of the health issues that they're experiencing. And if you're a consumer that just happened upon this video because you like the topic, we'll put a link in the description below for my book, Kick Your Fat in the Nuts, so you can get that book for free. And I think it's chapter 15 in that book that goes over different foods and how they can push the body. And that book is just more appropriate for a consumer, where the Health Pro Results book is really written for health professionals. And we'll put a link in the description below for our video on supplements that your clients should avoid at night as well. But to understand more about this catabolic and anabolic state, jump over right now and check out our video on how to help clients improve their circadian rhythm. I can't wait to hear about your results.